tackle and whose responsibility is it, that's when we can really provide assistance and step in. And then we also provide assistance, advice, and services directly to units of government throughout Chippewa County. The services that we do provide fall into 4 major categories, including economic development, transportation, community development, and mapping. Over the past year, we've provided a whole variety of services in Chippewa County relating to those topics. And I'm not going to cover all of them, but I want to just touch on 6 areas that we've worked on real quickly here, because I think that's the best way to show the types of things that we're doing. The first thing that we've worked on is in 2018, we as a regional planning commission were designated by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to administer a business disaster recovery loan fund. In the case of a disaster, that fund makes loans available to businesses that need some fast money to recover. The money is available for up to $20,000 at 0% interest. So that's a new program. We haven't made any loans out of that pot yet, but I do want to make you aware of that. In the case of you hearing of a business that might be able to use that money, it can be used in coordination with private money, like private loans, or some of the funds that Toby is going to be talking about through the Regional Business Fund. Number 2, we are looking at an update to the Chippewa County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Those plans are important, again, because in the case of an emergency, having that type of plan in place allows units of government as well as individuals to apply for emergency response money. Number 3, we assisted Chippewa County in applying for Economic Development Administration technical assistance funds to conduct a feasibility study and looking at the needs of a possible business park, additional business park for Chippewa County. Number 4, we are working on a study that looks at the future direction of the Chippewa Valley Innovation Center and how they should be growing. Number 5, we assisted the county in preparing a countywide bicycle and pedestrian plan, which I believe you're going to be seeing in the near future. Accompanying that effort, we've also worked with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in preparing a Chippewa Valley Trails brochure that includes maps of the Chippewa River, Old Abe, and Red Cedar Trail, in addition to preparing a Chippewa Valley bike routes map, and that details 20 different bike routes that riders can use throughout the Chippewa Valley, either for recreational or functional purposes. And then my final example is a way that we've worked with a community in your county, one of many that we've worked with, but we have over the past year assisted the city of Chippewa Falls with the completion of an outdoor recreation plan, as well as assisted them in administering a shared ride taxi program. So that is a quick look at what we do and some of the services that we've offered over the past year. If you have questions or you ever want us to come to meetings to talk about projects, please give us a call. We're more than happy to do that. Your county board members that sit on our commission are also good resources. They have a good handle on the types of services that we provide and the types of work we're doing not only in Chippewa County but other counties as well. So they might have some good ideas as you're working through projects as well. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Toby.
Okay, thanks. So I am Toby Lemahue. I'm the fund manager at the Regional Planning Commission, and like Lynn said, I work exclusively on the regional business fund side of things. And you do have a brochure, a new hot off the press brochure on our program. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on them, but you have those there, and you can always give me a call or look at our website too for further information. But our programs do provide loans to businesses within our 7-county region, including Chippewa County. Those are low interest at 4% or 0% for one of the programs that we offer. They are flexible and can be used for a variety of different things. So again, look at our brochure or check out our website for more information or give us a call too. Since the consolidation 12 years ago, we have assisted 90 businesses, including 34 startups, with almost $4.7 million in financing in Chippewa County alone. Of those businesses, they have projected to create or retain 673 jobs in the county. Some recent projects that we've worked with are DRL Drafting and Design in Lake Hallie, Bloomer Machine and Fab in Bloomer, CrossFit Chippewa Falls and Badger Cleaning in Chippewa Falls, Bedrock Services in Holcomb, the Courthouse in New Auburn, and Lube Suppliers in Stanley. I'd like to take just a quick moment to thank the Chippewa County residents that help us at the Regional Business Fund side of things. The Chippewa County rep on the board of directors for the Regional Business Fund is Lisa Brune. Our Chippewa County Revolving Loan Fund Committee members are Lisa Brune, Bart Chapek, Chris Conrad, Ron Haas, Nicole Hager, Paul Salm, and Rebecca Reinhardt. And also a quick thank you to Charlie and Rosalind at the Chippewa County EDC too for their marketing efforts. So that's all we have. If you guys have any questions, we're here to answer those as well.
I have a question. How well are you coordinating between your different entities like Northwest Wisconsin Regional Planning and West Central? I work on a committee that transcends these lines. And
Okay, yep. We coordinate well with other regional planning commissions. Quarterly, we hold meetings where all the regional planning commissions get together and talk about projects. We can also work cooperatively across boundaries as well, whether that's Northwest coming into our area or us going into theirs. So I think when we talk about regional and that we go past boundaries, that includes those boundaries as well. So, if there's something you want to look at from either side, Northwest coming into our area or us going into theirs, that's definitely something we can talk about.
Right. The committee I'm working at is the NORTAC committee, which is Northern Wisconsin Trails, motorized trails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so we're 2 months behind because we've been waiting for Northwest Regional Planning. We've made contacts to get a facilitator to redo our master plan. And 2 months have gone by without a meeting.
Okay.
So we're ready, willing, and able.
Okay. Maybe we can talk outside of this meeting and
Sounds good.
think about some ways we might be able to help you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to finish up real quick. Let's think. I'd like to personally thank Lynn and her staff. I've been working with Craig Johnson on that feasibility study. To work your way through the federal world is insane. I had to go on a website to get a password for the same website I was on a different website. So if you can figure that out. But they done an excellent job walking me through the process and dealing with that. If you don't do it every day, it's be extremely difficult. So I appreciate that. We do have the RFP out. I believe it's due back July 18th. So we should find some information on that. Thanks.
All right, business items. Resolution 1919.
Resolution to authorize the use of sales tax funds to pay debt service liabilities as part of the 2020 Chippewa County budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the sum of $451,688 be transferred from the sales tax property tax relief fund to the debt service fund for 2013 CIP bonds for payments on the principal and interest on the 2013 transportation bonds and to be included in the 2020 Chippewa County budget. And be it further resolved that the sum of $1,415,350 be transferred from the sales tax property tax relief fund to the debt service fund for 2018 CIP bonds for payments on the principal and interest on the 2018 capital improvement radio tower project, transportation bonds, and refunding the previous bonding, and to be included in the 2020 Chippewa County budget. Forwarded to the County Board by the Executive Committee.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Supervisor Gullickson, second by Supervisor Garish.
Yeah, I can speak on this. This is a resolution that has to come forward every year to fund our debt service.
Questions?
Our bills.
Let's vote. Release. 15 yes, 0 no. Resolution 2019.
Resolution to approve the use of sales tax funds for the annual contribution to the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport to be used for airport capital projects and/or airport debt service as part of the 2020 county budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the sum of $130,271 be transferred from sales tax property tax relief fund to the airport budget in the general fund to pay to pay Chippewa County's 2020 airport agreement contribution to be used for capital projects and debt service as enumerated in the airport budget, all as part of the recommended 2020 Chippewa County budget, forwarded to the county board by the executive committee.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
So, yeah, again, this is something we do every year. Maybe for the new members, Chippewa County and Eau Claire County have an agreement that helps fund the Chippewa Valley Regional Airport under capital improvements and debt services. This is for 2020. The agreement goes through 2023. You can see what we're contributing, 130,000, a little over. Eau Claire County this year is contributing 399,000.
Any questions? Vote. Fifteen yes, 0 no. 2020 to 2024 capital improvement plan. We need a motion on that first. Motion to approve. So move. Second? Second.
All right, thank you. All right, so I think the best way to move forward with this, and this is how we did it at exec, is I'm going to go through each project in this plan. As you know, there's resolutions tied to each one of these projects. We did group those resolutions this year. We talked about that last year, so they're grouped by department. It's very easy. If you want to take something out of the resolution, you can do it by line item when we get there. But if there's something you want to take out, let's take it out of the plan now. Ask all your questions now, so when we get to the resolutions, we can make those changes if we have to. That way everybody, we're kind of going through it one time, and everybody, hopefully everybody's on the same page with that. So what was presented to the policy committees, everything that was presented there and ranked and forwarded is the same that's in this plan, except for two things. The first thing is the body cams for the sheriff's department. That was in the 2020, they got moved to 2022. I really need an an additional IT person if we're gonna move forward with that, and I honestly don't have the levy to do that currently. So we talked over the sheriff, and I think he understood, but obviously it's a high priority thing that we want to do. I just don't have the money to do it operationally for sure. And then the other thing that was taken out was a jail holding cell. That was actually going to be due for 2020. They, from my understanding, have a new inspector, and we don't have to do as much as we originally thought. That was a $75,000 CIP project for 2020, and it's been totally removed. They feel like they can make the changes within their current budget. Any questions on that? Okay, I'll go through each one. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just looking here on that first page at the very bottom of all the red ones that are kind of, I know that we kind of have them listed as, you know, based on the department. You've got them ranked 1 of 6, 2 of 6, all that. That very bottom one there, it says 2 of 2. The 1 of 2 would have been.
Yeah, it would have been the sheriff's body cams.
Gotcha,
If you can,
okay.
yeah, scroll down a little bit, it's in 2022. We just wanted to show that that was
Okay.
moved.
Great,
and
thank you.
how it was ranked. Thanks for pointing
Thank
that out. Yep. Okay, so I'll start with facilities and parks. I'll go through each one. The first one is for a fire system. Currently, our fire system failed its 5-year pressure test, so it needs to be replaced. Unfortunately, of course, it all runs through the walls, and it's quite expensive to do that. So that's the first project. And again, I have department heads here if you guys need more details, but that's essentially the first project. Any questions on that one? Okay, I'll just keep on moving. All right, the next one is resurfacing 2002 jail showers. This has been a multi-year project. There are 24 total showers. We've resurfaced to date 10. Passing this would allow us to do 6 more. So we're starting to knock that list out. And I know Larry puts that in as he can do them. So that's the project. Any questions on that? Good.
Are the inmates still pounding mop handles through the ceiling?
Yeah, I didn't have that answer
I asked
before.
that question exact, and nobody answered my question.
Don't know.
I think I can answer it. With the current showers that they put in from the first set of showers that they fixed, no, because they're concrete. When they put in the showers with the original jail, it's more of a sheetrock with a mesh through it. And yes, they did pound holes in it, but they have to have cleaning supplies. We can't give them little mop handles, you know, to go on their knees and scrub the floor. They have to have.
We can't ask them to go on their hands and knees and clean? Why not?
No, we can't. They do have some rights, and we're gonna get, she's shaking her head yes, because she works in Stanley. They do have rights, and unfortunately, we can't do that. But yes, this will rectify that problem. With the showers that we've had done, those things look like they were installed yesterday. And Larry, how long has it been? It's been probably 8 years, 7 years. They look like they were just installed. They're spotless. They're perfect.
Steve?
I guess maybe if we're gonna do this, you guys have to come up here and talk, because we're taping, and I gotta get it on tape. We gotta get the thing, so whoever's gonna communicate has to get to a mic somewhere.
I just wanted to be short with your question as to activity back in the jail. And you know that most recently, we redid the camera system back in the jail with the help of IT. So we added an additional 20 or so plus cameras. So some blind spots where the inmates know where all the cameras are. Some of that activity occurred there, but again, with the addition of the additional cameras and with the cameras that can rotate, we've had very little incidents involving criminal damage to the property inside the jail.
All right, any other questions on that one? All right, the next one is the park master plan. Again, this is a multi-year project that Larry and his staff and the policy committee are working through the plan. As you can see, they have it laid out exactly what their plan is for the 2020. Any questions on this one? Go ahead.
Already caught my eye. What's a pit toilet versus a green flush toilet?
I'll have to ask Larry to come on up. I'm not sure. I got to ask that at exec too. I didn't know that.
I'm imagining a pit toilet might be like an outhouse, maybe? I don't know.
The pit toilet is an outhouse, basically, and the green flush is an upgraded toilet that has a flapper in it, and it has minimum water used to flush. So it's actually a flushing toilet, and we can control the volume of water so it doesn't have to be pumped nearly as often as a regular toilet. So it's somewhere between a standard septic system, a regular bathroom, and a pit toilet. It's a step up.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions, any more questions on that one? All right, we'll move to 4. Security plan. I asked Larry, we've been talking for a while about different areas that needed some security, that when they went through the plans and did other upgrades that didn't get completely done, or we've had requests since those plans have been done. So I asked him to put that all together into one project, even though you can see there's several different areas to improve. So that's what this is about. It's about getting everything in one area. Any questions? Okay. We'll move on to the jail chiller. This is the $600,000 for the chiller. Larry can go into details of what that is, but obviously it's something that's gone to its end of life and needs to be replaced. This funding, Supervisor Thornton stopped in my office and helped us, Melissa and I kind of talked this through. I think sometimes Melissa and I know what we're saying and what we're talking about, but sometimes it feels like we're using, I think, generic terms to the supervisors. So when we say fund balance, fund balance is actually coming out of money that I put in there for the end of the year. So they're not asking for an additional $600,000. It's money that was put in their fund balance machinery account in the sheriff's office. So what we're going to do next year is when we show that money moving, instead of using the generic term of fund balance, we're going to use exactly where it's going in different funds. So I think that was helpful because we're used to that vocabulary and we're used to doing it that way, but it helped. We figure if Supervisor Thornton had questions, the rest of our county board might have questions on that. Is that about right? Under? Okay, good. It helps. I mean, I'm glad you stopped in. Any questions? Go.
Thank you. Just a quick question about end of life. Does that mean it's just reached its depreciable, end of?
Yeah, end of life can mean a few things. It's usually the service end of life. Usually your depreciation depends on how long you depreciate something out. So I don't know if you mean the end of life is depreciation or service. It's costing too much money to keep up.
Or it died, okay.
It's dying, yeah. Yeah, I hear it a lot on roofs, end of life, because you're repairing them so much. It makes sense to replace the roof instead of just patching it up.
Certainly.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is from service and cost.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Next one is the security plan. Again, this is something that we put money in at the end of the year into the security fund balance. And it's another thing we'll point out, moving forward when we show those funds moving in and out of fund balance. This project is really for the treasurer, clerk of court area, and IT's kind of tied in there. We have an office there, Andy's office is there. So it's kind of that whole area. I think there's a lot of space there. So hopefully we can utilize some of the additional space for other needs in the building. But I think it's going to be a good project. And once that's done, I'm not going to say we're done with security, but I think the major projects after zoning's done this year and that's done, I'm not aware of another big project we have. Questions on that project? Go on.
I believe you said clerk of courts isn't the county clerk's office?
County clerks, thank you. Thanks. Yes, county clerk, treasurer, and then Andy's world.
Andy's world.
Anything else on that? Okay. All right, the next one's the highway department. The first one is highway and bridges. This lays out some of the projects they're looking to do for the 2020 budget. Ryan can talk about, details on this. One of the things also Supervisor Thornton asked about was we received a pretty big funding source, STP money for a project, and he was concerned that if we got that, would we have to move around other projects, which makes sense. But that project that we received that money for is for 2022. Is that right, Brian? Maybe you can talk on that. Thanks. No, I'll just talk about STP and that. See if they have any questions.
Yeah, there's a Highway SS project in 2022, 83rd Street to Q. It's in the CIP for $1.35 million right now. We received $2.3 million in federal aid for that, and so we'll be able to take that and do the reconstruct project and 2 bridges when we do that. So it'll still get done in 2022. It'll cost a little more going through the federal process. It all has to be let out to contractors instead of self-performing it, but it's well worth it for the $2.3 million in aid.
Is any of this bonding money? Where's the bonding money?
That's on Highway F. There's $1 million in bonding for 2020. Highway SS, both those SS projects, and on the Highway M project are frac projects. We're negotiating the road use agreements with the frac companies in New Auburn, and those could be delayed. But we have them on here as a placeholder. Those aren't county funded at all.
Where's your microphone?
You must just stay up here, Brian, because I'm sure there'll be other questions. Any other questions on that? Okay.
I'm sorry, another question about this roundabout. So just so you know, I received letters from a couple of youth constituents who are very excited about this roundabout, as are a number of other residents that schlepped their kids over to St. Peter and Tilden. So what are we looking at as far as timeline on that intersection closing, and about, I'm assuming obviously snow's got to be gone, right? And then like what time frame do you think that will be closed, and what kind of rerouting will that be?
The plan is to do it while school's out, so we have to close it. We talked about possibly staging it, and we talked to the highway committee about that. I think it was going to be about $200,000 more, they figured, to stage it. And so the decision was made to not do that and close it down and get it done faster. But we're shooting to get that all done while school's out.
Okay, great, thank you.
You mentioned roundabouts. I think it's amazing that how people love them now. When they first came out and I was a highway commissioner, they picketed our committee meeting if we tried to put a roundabout in. So it's interesting how that's changed. But I really like them. I think they work really well.
I have a question, Randy, also. Sure. We know where the $100,000 is going to be spent on the buildings?
That's coming up.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay, I'll wait till that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions on highway and bridges? Okay. The next one's machinery purchases. It's $1,025,000 is what he has allocated for purchasing of new machinery. Yeah, I guess you can talk about how you come up with that number. Maybe that would help the county supervisors.
Typically, there's about $1.2 million in machinery revenues that we use to fund our machinery and equipment purchases and highway department vehicles. We've been working with an advisor that used to do this for a long time, and he's helped us wrap our head around how to address our building repairs, and that's really supposed to be funded by your machinery purchases too. And so we took the $175,000 out of the machinery purchases and moved it over to the building side. I think there's $100,000 in 2020, and then we're going to carry over $75,000 into 2021 for a larger project we're doing then.
Do we know what those projects are, Brian?
We just kind of work with Paul. He keeps a priority in a running order, and each year we kind of reevaluate it. Certain things creep up on us, so we don't keep a list of projects that far out, but each year we kind of address the biggest needs.
And did we or did we not see a list of the machinery that you're going to buy? Or
You'll see a list at the operations report that I'll bring to the committee in August or September, and then it'll be at the board in November. That has my equipment list for the next year on it, as well as what we bought this year.
So right now we're approving money on equipment and we don't know what we're going to buy?
Yeah, this is based on historical average amounts. We'll look at what machinery actually generated this year, and that'll determine what we buy in the future. So that's just based on historical averages.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on machinery? Okay, thank you. The next one is buildings and grounds. This is what Brian just talked about. I don't know if you have any other questions, but it's he broke that out. I think this is the first year he broke that out, Brian, is that correct? To break it out to show what is going into the buildings and grounds out of the machinery. You can see the machinery and building account there to show that. Any questions on that? And then, so the next one is non-highway fleet. We upped this. I think this has been about $175,000. Is that correct, Melissa? And it's been running in the red. Obviously, it hasn't been increased since they implemented the program, and nothing stays the same. As you know, costs keep going up. So we're looking at putting $200,000 and reevaluate it every year to see do we get that account out of the red. Questions on that? Yep, go ahead.
Maybe this is the wrong fleet, but it seems like last year Supervisor Hunt had mentioned somebody looking at like going through Enterprise or something to see if that was cheaper than
Yep, we
purchasing
did
our
that.
own?
Yep, we went through that whole process. It's not. Because of the way it's set up here, we have our own fleet. I think some counties, I think it is, just because they don't have a fleet of vehicles. But they ran through, I don't know if you want to talk more on that, but they ran through the numbers and we ended up, it wasn't cheaper.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you. The next one is IT. The first one is for $215,000. This one comes forward every year. It essentially stays around that 215 number. It may vary a little bit depending on what they need, but it's essentially the continuous turnover of equipment for IT. And Andy will answer any questions on this. The next two, because I'm not good in the IT world. No questions? Okay. And then the next one is sound and video equipment. I'll do my best to try and run through this. If you have any additional questions, I'll bring Andy up. But essentially for branch one, as you can see, there's sound and video updates. That project, I believe, is different than the other two branches, and we need to bring that up to basically the same technology, if I'm using the right terminology. And we also have that FCC issue there with, we have to get rid of it, is it July of 2020? We're using their frequency, that they're taking our frequency away essentially. So that's really that 45,000 you see, and then the wireless mics on the 14. And then the 30 for this room, again, has to do with the FCC. And he kind of spells out exactly what we're going to do there. The other thing we're going to do is, if you view our board meetings right now online, if we change from one camera to the other, there's a period of time where it goes into the red, white, blue, or whatever all the screens are. So we're going to direct stream it from our projector, so it's a lot easier for the transition and that people can read the projection better. I know one of our supervisors gave us some feedback, and I said, make sure you support this because it'll fix everything she talked about. Did I do that right, Andy? All right. Anything on that one? All right. The next ones are land conservation forest management. First one's a snowmobile bridge. This is, my understanding, is something they put in every year. It's only utilized if there's a need and if we receive the grant. They always want to put a placeholder out there. Did I miss one?
Yeah, recycling.
Oh, I'm
containers.
sorry, I missed one, I'm sorry. I'll back up. So one of four is standardized recycling containers. This is part of our recycling program. The idea is to take $50,000 from that fund balance, from recycling, and issue, I believe there's 275 recycling containers that they're going to put out across the county. And they're working with local municipalities and businesses to make that so. Any questions on that? All right, I'll go back to the one that I just talked about. So the snowmobile bridge, again, it's grant funded. If there's a need, then we go after the grants, but they want to put this in as a placeholder every year in case something comes up. Okay, countywide stewardship fund. This is an ongoing program. To date, they've done 16 projects. I think they did an excellent job at explaining what it is within there. It's something that we do every year, and if there's a project, there's money available for those projects.
I would have a question for corporate counsel on that. Jim, if I can test your memory, when those projects came down, they're coming out of the sales tax fund, and typically they're to be, capital improvement, hard projects. So part of that fund is a grant program where we give money out. Was that ever discussed or whatever as far as fitting within the realm of the capital improvement project, to your recollection? Or
Land is included in the ordinance. Purchase of land is included.
But the land that we're purchasing, this case, it's private nonprofit organizations. We give them the money, they purchase land or they purchase different things. That's my only question is, is, is that funding in the right place? Or should it be separated, or did you guys do something way back when that?
Not that I recall. The mechanism for how the stewardship program works, I'll defer to Dan on that. But when I looked at it, this was the question that came to my mind when we did this resolution, was that when I looked at the ordinance, it did say purchase of land. Now, I thought it was is it through private organizations or intergovernmental organizations?
Organizations like Ducks Unlimited
okay.
and Pheasants Forever, different things like that. Again, it's not.
Yeah, no, I like I said,
Is it the proper pot the money should be in?
Yeah, I think it fits within the definition, but if the county board doesn't, you can certainly change the ordinance to clarify that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that one? All right, this one is for land acquisition. They put money aside. I think it allows us to get a grant if a piece of property comes up. This would obviously go through the policy committee. They'd have to approve all that before it comes here. But I believe they do this every year also. No questions?